Final topic of the day, my Malkin's moments. So I have a couple great Malkin's moments for you. So first, have to start with my Wisconsin Badger, Jonathan, my former Wisconsin Badger, Jonathan Taylor, erupted for 5 touchdowns in the 41-15 win over the Buffalo Bills for the Indianapolis Colts yesterday. Rushed for a career high 32 carries, 185 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown. Leads the NFL, first of all, in total rushing yards. He's now eclipsed Derrick Henry, surpassed him. Taylor is the 3rd youngest player to have 5 touchdowns in a game and the 3rd player to get all 5 in just 3 quarters. He's the first player to score 5 touchdowns in a regular season game against a team that was the number 1 defense in points allowed entering that week. And again, the job that he's done, his ability to just flourish, it's been amazing watching this guy play. And he's having a sensational breakout second year. This is just his second year in the NFL, and he's already crushing it. And he's currently leading the Indianapolis Colts on this playoff push. He's been their best player all season long. In fact, they're undefeated when he rushes for over 100 yards. He was absolutely sensational. He's got over 1,200 yards from scrimmage. Through his first 8 games, he's just the 8th player in NFL history to record 1,200 yards from scrimmage. Through 8 weeks in the NFL, he's been absolutely sensational. Speaking of sensational, the Alabama quarterback Bryce Young out of Mater Dei, which is close to me, he went off against the Arkansas Razorbacks on Saturday as the number 2 ranked team in the nation. Alabama knocked off the 21st ranked Arkansas Razorbacks 42-35. And he threw for 561 yards, 5 touchdowns, was 31 of 40. He broke the University of Alabama's single game passing record against Arkansas. That's a school record. The previous record was set all the way back in 1969 by Scott Hunter, of all people. So it's been nearly 50 years almost. And actually more than 50 years, if I do my math correctly, I guess 52 years. And he's the 3rd player in Alabama history to throw for at least 35 passing touchdowns in a season. Tua Tagovailoa and Mac Jones are the only 2 others to accomplish that feat. Along the way, the Crimson Tide clinched a berth to the SEC championship game to face number 1 ranked Georgia, which is going to be a great game. They clinched the SEC West with that performance on Saturday. And listen, he's got some spectacular offensive players, and a couple of his wide receivers helped him out. John Mechie III had a big game, 10 catches, 173 yards, 1 touchdown. Jamison Williams had 8 catches, 190 yards, and 3 touchdowns for the Crimson Tide. So the offense was exploding, and Bryce Young was having a tremendous game. He's been having a sensational sophomore year, his first year as the starting quarterback for Alabama. And what a performance, what an individual performance he had on Saturday. Speaking of individual performances, the Wisconsin running back, who I touched on briefly and referenced, Braelon Allen, had 228 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns in the 35-28 win over the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Listen, this is another promising freshman running back from the University of Wisconsin that is starting to blossom. He's really starting to blossom, and I'm really excited about what Braelon Allen is doing for this program. Jonathan Taylor gave him a shout out yesterday, and it's great to see more Badgers having great success. Happy for him. The Louisville quarterback, Malik Cunningham, became the first player in ACC history to have 300-plus passing yards and 200-plus rushing yards in a game as Louisville knocked off Duke. They destroyed them 62-22. That is impressive. 300 passing yards, plus passing yards, 200-plus rushing yards in a game. And it's only fitting that it would come out of Louisville, given the fact that Lamar Jackson went to Louisville also, and I'm sure set close and similar records to that. So big performance from him. And then finally, big shout out to CJ Stroud making his Heisman case for the Ohio State Buckeyes. The fourth-ranked Buckeyes absolutely steamrolled and annihilated Michigan State, ranked number 7 at the time, 56-7. They led 49-0 at the half. And C.J. Stroud was 32 of 35 for 432 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He had 3 incompletions in the entire game. And when you're throwing that volume of passes and you're still connecting on all of them, he had 3 receivers that had over 100 yards receiving. It was absolutely a sensational performance, made his Heisman case. I would argue that right now he's probably the slight Heisman favorite over Bryce Young. I think it's obviously a two-man race at the moment, but a huge performance, a major statement win from Ohio State. And C.J. Stroud, I actually called a couple of his high school games. He went to Rancho Cucamonga High School, and I saw him play in high school, and he was sensational in high school. So it's not a surprise to me that he's having the amount of success that he's having right now at Ohio State. Major shout out to him. That'll do it for us on the show. Thank you so much for joining me right here on Morning Joe every single Monday and Wednesday morning, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 to 11 Central, and 8 to 9 a.m. Pacific. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube page, Morning Joe with Jonah Malkin. Follow me on Twitter at morning_Joe or just at Jonah Malkin. Follow me on Instagram, jmalk97, TikTok, Jonah Malkin. And as always, like, review, subscribe. And as always, have a lovely rest of your morning.